and I am the founder of JS Self Care. Welcome to my YouTube Live. I'm actually going live on Facebook and Instagram, so please bear with me. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? I'm going to share this with a few groups that I am a part of, as I always do on Facebook. So if you're tuning in or you're watching this on a replay, if you don't mind, please share the live. You never know who is struggling with relationship boundaries. I'm not in a relationship and I'm not a relationship guru, but I have been in a relationship before. So my spirit, I didn't have a topic for tonight. That's the weird thing. And then you go on live and then you're like, oh my God, I need to talk about this. Hello, Gentel. How are you? How are you doing? How's things going? Right now, I'm just sharing a live, so please bear with me. This is my first time going on Instagram Live also, so which is great. It's a new outlet for me. So I'm just sharing a live. And if you guys can, as you join in, if you could please share the live. You never know who needs to hear this particular live. We're talking about relationship boundaries. And then I'm going to go over to also Instagram and just turn that on. And then we should all be ready. So hello, hello. How's everyone's Monday going? Thank you for being proud of me. I'm working hard getting this together. Hello, everyone in Instagram world. How are you guys doing right now? Really quickly, I'm sharing a live. And if you can, please share the live. You never know who needs to hear certain lives. Today, we're talking about relationship boundaries. And, it's only 5 boundaries that I want us to start off with. We could always come up with some great boundaries. Right now, I'm inviting. So if you guys can, please share the live. Invite 50 people. If you're tuning in on Instagram, just hit the arrow. If you're tuning in on Facebook, just also hit the arrow, hit the share button. But hello, everyone. Welcome to my live. My name is Janelle. For those who is their first time tuning in, I actually go live on all platforms every Monday at 8:30. I'm the founder of JS Self Care. I am a social worker of 18 beautiful years. And I'm also a self-care life coach. I recently became a substance abuse recovery coach. Thanks to a grant, I was honored. I'm an advocate for substance abuse. And what I teach people all around the world is self-care. I teach what I most need to learn. So that's what I do. I'm all about self-care. I'm all about teaching you how to be selfish and to really, really hone in into taking care of you. What does self-care mean to you may mean different for other people. But the goal is, there's only one goal with self-care, and that's to take care of you. I didn't have a topic for this week. Last night about 12 a.m. I was watching Power. And I was like, what am I going to talk about tomorrow? Am I going to go live? Am I going to do a mental health check-in? And then it was like, talk about relationship boundaries. So I'm like, oh, okay. And that's my God telling me relationship boundaries. And then I'm like, well, I'm not in no relationship. But I guess, you never know. God be preparing us for those relationships and we don't even know. I'm divorced, happily divorced to my best friend. Him and I are best friends. But we're happily divorced, meaning we knew we weren't good to be together, but we were very good to be parents. And that's what we're doing. We're great parents to our beautiful son. So I was like, well, what does relationship boundaries look to you, Janelle? Like when you get your new love of your life, you've been manifesting them. Did you ever think about any boundaries or anything you want to do different from your other relationships you had? And I'm like, I don't know. And then last night to 2 o'clock in the morning, I was writing relationship boundaries. So I say, you know what? I'm going to stick to 5, figure out those 5, study those 5 relationship boundaries, and then I'm going to venture out to more boundaries. But the good thing is, I'm learning about relationships that I didn't know. And I was like, oh, okay, so pick 5. So the 5 relationship boundaries that I pick is physical boundary. That's one of the boundaries I pick. And physical boundary includes your need for your personal space, whether you like to be touched or not. That's a question you have to ask yourself. Resting, getting a good night rest. That's a physical boundary that you need to create with your mate. It's like, don't touch me all the time. No, I'm a toucher. My love language is physical touch, so I may like touching. But for you, if physical boundary is not being touched and not being kissed in public, your partner won't know that unless you tell them. Eating food. When you're hungry, you don't have to wait for everybody to come home from work for you to eat. You don't starve yourself. Let that be one of your boundaries. Drinking water, just having a glass of water, and not be controlled in the relationship about drinking water. If you got to be like, I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to touch nothing until husband get home or wife get home or partner get home or the kids get home, that's depriving yourself. And that's saying that the only time you're going to do something physically for yourself is if you are around someone. So one of your physical boundaries is that you have to say, you know what, I want this water, I'm going to get this water. I want to go eat, I'm going to go eat. And when family come, they can still eat at the table, but I'm eating because I'm hungry. And if your partner does not agree with that physical boundary, because we all know that boundaries are set for our well-being. Remember, you're not setting boundaries up for other people's well-being. I just want to put that out there. You are not setting your boundaries for others. You're setting your boundaries for your very own well-being. And if your partner comes home and be like, oh, you ate without me, I was starving. Oh, you drank water without me, I was thirsty. And if your partner does not agree with the boundaries that you're setting surrounding your physical being, I'm going to need you to set up a consequence. If you don't like the way I do things, maybe we need to have a conversation about our relationship. If you don't like the way that I'm taking care of my physical being, that I'm drinking water because you're not home, then we need to discuss our relationship. And through that discussion, you're going to tell your partner, because you also got to tell people what that relationship boundary is. What is your physical boundary? Is I'm going to eat and drink when I'm ready. I hope you're home with me, but I'm going to eat and drink when I'm ready. So make sure that you take care of your physical boundary. An important physical boundary, like me, I told you guys, my love language is physical touch. So I like walking down the street, holding hands, kissing, hugging, and I'm a hugger. So I'm always walking up to people. They be like, hi, Jeanette. And I'll be like, well, I'm a hugger. Do you mind if I hug you? Because I don't want to invade nobody's space, but I'm a hugger. So I love physical touch. I love to touch. I love to rub. I love that. Now, my cousin, Alana, she don't like the physical touch. She like, don't touch me. Do not touch me. So hugging and kissing her is not warming because that's something she don't like. But my physical boundary is to touch me. So you got to respect other people's physical boundaries. But make sure that you eating and you taking care of yourself and you're not horning into what others want you to do. You're not so much thinking of their well-being opposed to yours. So remember, self-care is about taking care of self first. So make sure that you do that at all times. Your self-care comes first. So physical boundary is very, very important. Like I said, I'm not in a relationship, but when I get in a relationship, this is a conversation that me and my mate are going to have. We're going to discuss physical boundaries. The next boundary is emotional boundaries. So think about emotional boundaries and what does that mean for you and how you want to implement that in your relationship. But emotional boundaries are all about respecting and honoring your feelings and energy. Respecting emotional boundaries means validating your feelings to make sure that you're okay. So whatever that feeling is, happy, sad, amazing, great, whatever that feeling is, you got to respect your emotional boundary. And when you share your feelings with your partner and they like, oh, you feel that way every day, please. You need to talk about that relationship because they're not respecting your boundary, your emotional boundary. That is so, so important. So as I'm manifesting my husband to be, I'm like, oh, he got to respect my emotional boundaries. Yup, we're going to talk about that when we meet each other because that is so, so important. Don't let no one tell you how you need to feel. That emotional boundary needs to be in place. And you need to set a consequence because I'm big on this. Boundaries, we could set boundaries all day. People will cross them because they have no consequence. Like I did it. She gonna talk about it and she gonna get over it. No, I'm not getting over anything because I tell people I don't get over nothing anymore. I get through stuff. And whatever that getting through looks like for me, it may not look well for you. But your emotional boundary needs to be checked. And you need to be able to share that emotion with your mate. How do you feel today? Today I had a bad day. Work was straining. I had to go do some paperwork. I still work my 9 to 5, so the politics of the job is a lot of paperwork and getting this done. So every code could be in, so billing purposes, right? These agencies want to get paid, so they want you to say the right word and stuff. So my emotional boundary may be, I was with our clients all day. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I just want to go to bed. If your client, I'm sorry, if your mate or, whoever you're in a relationship with be like, oh, you always tired. You always tired from that job. You forget about your feelings. You got to go, huh? Honey dumpling, honey bunches of oats, we got to have a conversation about this relationship. Because if you are in a relationship and that emotional boundary is not respected, you need to have a conversation because that may not be the partner you're with who don't validate your emotions and stop telling always negative. Like you always feeling that way. You always acting like way. Every time you come from that job, you need to quit that job. Honey, our finances ain't in a place where we need to quit a job. Maybe find a job we can, but that emotional boundary needs to be in check and make sure that you are in tune with your emotional boundaries. Know how you feel. How you feel in this present moment. I didn't ask you how you feel 5 years from now or how you feel in this present moment should be respected. And even if you revert back to your past, because it's a lot of unhealed traumas out there. You should be entitled to have that feeling. Whatever that feeling is, happy, sad, amazing, great, not so good, just want to go lay down. Whatever that emotion is, you need to be validated and your mate needs to validate that emotion for you. So emotional boundaries is so, so important. Sexual boundaries, that's our third one. Sexual boundaries is healthy sexual boundaries, which include consent, agreement, respect, understanding, preference, desires, and privacy. I was like, do you really want that to be your boundary? Yes, I do. Because certain things that, happen in relationships, like whether you guys should wear a condom, that should be discussed in your relationship, in your current relationship. Should you guys be using contraceptive? Do you guys want to have more children? Do you guys just feel more comfortable wearing a condom, using contraceptive? That sexual boundary needs to be discussed. If your partner was to put you in a position you don't like, you should be able to tell your partner, hey, I know you like this position, but it doesn't work for me. Can we try a different position? Your sexual boundary needs to be in place. And always remember a boundary, and you need to have a consequence, but don't hold sex over a person's head. Like, if you keep doing doggy style, we're not going to have sex. If that's what the person likes, or whatever you call it, hitting it from behind, or whatever we want to call that position, if a person likes that and you don't like that, there's a disconnect within a relationship. Imagine if a person only likes that position and you prefer missionary style. You just want to lay there. You just want to do what it do and get it over with. Those are conversations that you have to have in your relationship. Another sexual boundary that shouldn't be crossed is our health. Like if you have a STD, or if you have herpes or AIDS or HIV, and those need to be discussed. That's not a secret. That's nothing you hold on to. Remember, sexual boundaries are needed within a relationship. This is the person you love. Not to say that you can't catch these diseases if you use contraceptives or condoms or whatever you choose, but it needs to be a discussion. Hey, I have herpes. I'm not having a flare up. It's safe to have sex, but when I'm having a flare up, it's not safe to have sex. And then that partner needs to decide whether they want to be with a person who has herpes or whatever. But your sexual boundaries need to be in check. There's a place I'm getting ready to go. So just a warning for some people who need to put sexual boundaries in place. Not some, but some people, or people who have experienced sexual trauma. That can be a trigger. Certain positions can be a trigger for a person who have been raped, molested when they were a child, when they were adult. Those are conversations that we need to have in relationships. If they're not ready to go there, you should at least give them the opportunity to open that up. So maybe before you have sex with someone or something, put that sexual boundary. Hey, is there a position you don't like? I know when we first met, you told me you were sexually abused. And that person may say, don't lay me down, or don't lay me down flat, or keep me stand, let's stand up and have sex, or whatever their past is. You don't want to re-traumatize your lover, your mate, the person you trying to spend the rest of your life with. So sexual boundaries are very, very important, and they're delicate conversations, but they're conversations that we need to have as an adult. And if you can't have a sexual boundary conversation with your mate, the consequence should be, we need to discuss this, because I'm telling you that I was molested as a child, and this man would put his dirty sock in my mouth, or this man used to make me kneel on rice, or this man did this, and I only feel comfortable and feel my best having missionary sex because this is part of the trauma that happened to me. You need to have those conversations. So sexual trauma, I picked this one because it's near and dear to me. And I'm at an age, I'm 45. So you guys all know, I want to have certain sex positions. I want to do certain things. I want to feel good, and I want my partner to feel good. So one of the questions that's important in a relationship is, what do you like? How do you like it? If I could accommodate you. So make sure that your sexual preferences are put out on the table when you're dating and you're meeting your partner. That way those preferences probably could be discussed before sex, because nobody knows you. A man only knows what he thinks a woman likes, and a woman only knows how to please a man because they think they know what a man like. But for some men, they don't want a woman to go down on them. Some men just are not into that. Some men are not into going down on a woman. Whatever it is, those are conversations that need to be had. And if you're on this live and you never had that conversation, a sexual boundary conversation with your mate, I suggest you do. And don't say, oh, we've been together 80 years, whatever it is, it is. Stop it. If you go to your partner right now and say, you know what, we never had a conversation during dating, but Jaya Self-Care told me something that's super duper important. Do I please you? And she may go, you know, we've been together for 20 years and you never asked. I'm glad you asked that, but there's a position that you and I never tried and I would like to try. Simple. Sexual boundary. Okay, we could try it. Or your mate may say, you know what? I really don't want to try it. But don't lie about your sexual boundaries. And be honest. If you're with someone that you are sharing your body with, you should be able to talk to them about anything. That's my personal opinion. Like I said, I'm not the relationship guru, but I know I'm not going to be with someone that I can't have sexual conversations with. I'm not going to be with someone that I can't have those emotional conversations with. You have to be with someone that you're sharing your body. Remember, you only get one body. So you don't want to jack it all up because someone shared that were afraid to share their health issue, or someone was afraid to tell you that they're wearing condoms or not wearing condoms, or someone to take off a condom like during sex. That's not appropriate. And you need to set a boundary in front of it. It's just not appropriate. Intellectual boundaries. This one is also extremely important. And the reason why intellectual boundaries are important is because you don't want to be with someone where you can't have a politic conversation, a religious conversation with, any type of touchy conversation. You don't want to be with a person that you can't touch on the intellect of a person. You got to be prepared to have any conversation with your mate. You may not agree on everything they say, because that's why we're humans and we think different and we act different. You're not marrying your twin, so they're not going to like the president that you like. They're not going to like the church that you like. They're not going to like the chicken you like. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but respect that opinion. Respect their goals. You don't want to go up to your partner and say, hey, babe, I've been thinking about opening a business and just venturing out into, my authentic self. I just want to explore the world. And your partner go, you going to work tomorrow? Wow, how hurtful is that? Did you pay the light bill? You like, did you not hear what I just said? I want to explore the world. I want to do things. If you and your partner are not on an intellectual level, reevaluate that relationship. Your partner didn't hear you want to be an entrepreneur. Your partner didn't hear that you want to do different things. Did you pay the bill? You going to work tomorrow? All right, we'll talk about that later. If they're watching a movie, hey, after your football game, can we have a conversation? Or when you're in a safe space, can we have a conversation? And then you tell your partner, if they're not listening to you and they still with you going to work tomorrow, I know you want to do that, but right now we got the light bill to pay. Con Ed, Central Hudson, all them things went up. That means that is not the relationship for you. I'm going to say that's not the relationship for me. If we're not supportive on an intellectual level, there's an issue. We may not agree on everything, but everybody has a right to their own opinion. And you could simply say, I appreciate your opinion and I value your opinion. I just don't agree with what you're saying, so my opinion is different. When you go to a partner like that, it's more like, wow, she appreciate what I said. She may not agree, but you know what? We're not twins. She's not going to agree on everything I say, or he's not going to agree on everything I say. But be with your partner on an intellectual level. If you're not, you have an issue within that relationship. And I'm not a relationship expert, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm not spending the rest of my life thinking about that I can't talk to my husband about that. I could talk to you. You're my life coach. I'm going to encourage you to talk to your husband or talk to your wife or talk to your partner about those conversations you don't want to go to. Because if there's conversations that you cannot have with your mate, y'all not on the same intellectual level. Hello, Lourdes. Check your voicemail. Really quick. The next one is financial boundaries. This one, I think 50%. Well, I'm going to speak for me. Me and my ex-husbands argued about finances a lot. We would put the money in the pot, then somebody's holding money. It was just hot mess. And I'm not doing that ever again. Financial boundaries are so important. And it's our last one. I saved it for last because it's very, very important in a relationship. I'm going to say it again. Financial boundaries are very, very important in a relationship. You could be in a relationship where you got your money, I got my money. Great. We just pay the bills. We sit down every month, we pay the bills. Or you could be in a relationship where all the money goes in the pot and everybody gets a certain amount. And then you have a vacation account, and then you have a bill account, and then you have this account. But financial boundaries is important. If I'm in a relationship with you, I'm not coming home to a Ferrari outside. I'm not doing that. And there's a reason for that. Number one, we got a Ferrari and we're not renting. We're renting an apartment. Make that make sense. That's to me. That is my opinion. You may say, buy whatever you want, get it. But whatever it is, make sure that you have that conversation. And don't say, oh, you brought a car. You better make sure that rent is up. You better make sure you have that mortgage money. Make sure that light bill. That's not a relationship boundary. You trying to be his mother. I said relationship, a financial boundary. You trying to be his mother or her mother. What you need to do is set aside. If a goal is for you to get your car first and them to get their car second, or vice versa, whatever that goal is, there needs to be a money pot to purchase a car. That is a big item. If you want to buy a house, you don't call the realtor and be like, hello, I want a house. Honey, come look at this house. We're getting ready to close on it tomorrow. I took 30,000 out the bank for the down payment. I took another 10 for them to come and paint the house. No. That's not a relationship. You're in a relationship by yourself. So I really need you guys to think about this financial boundary. If somebody go and buy them a shirt or a pair of shoes, we ain't got to talk about that. You bought yourself a shirt, you bought yourself a shoes. Now, if you're taking the money for the daggone shoes and shirt out our vacation fund, we need to talk about that. Like for me, my new relationship is we're going to have a bill pot. We're going to have a together pot. We're going to have a house pot. We're going to have a car pot. And we're going to have our own money. If I want to swipe my card, I swipe my card. If he want to swipe his card, go out to dinner, I don't care about that. I'm not talking about we got to be to the T like, honey, I'm going to go eat a piece of cake. I'm going to Cheesecake Factory. Or, honey, I'm going to the diner. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about huge items. There needs to be a boundary surrounding huge items. Cars, car notes, rent, mortgage, light bill, cable bill. Well, now we got to add internet because when we were younger, we didn't have that bill. Internet, cell phone bills, all of those things, food. Nobody, I forgot about food. That's an important bill. And it's a very high bill. And then our family activity bill, money. That's if we go out on a date. We have money. And then our cushion money, our together savings money. Now, whatever you do with the part of the money that I get 100, you get 100 for the next 2 weeks, whatever that is, it has to make sense. It really has to make sense. And your financial boundaries should never be crossed. Like I said, I was married before. And one of me and my husband's downfalls is we didn't talk about finances. We paid bills, but we didn't talk about finances. Like we never sat down and said, I got 80,000 in student loans. He didn't sit down and say, I have no student loans. He didn't sit down and say, well, Janelle, I got $10,000 in credit card debt. Now, did we pay off credit cards and stuff? Like we gonna pay off this? Yeah, we did that. But we didn't sit down and have a financial boundary conversation. So when I wrote these boundaries out and it came to me 12 midnight because I didn't have a topic, financial boundary was important. Sexual boundary was important. Intellectual boundary is important. It's especially important for me now because I'm on a self-care journey. So when someone is being selfish and not taking my self-care into consideration, like why you want to do that, what you want to do that for, we can't be together. Sorry, but not sorry, because that is my intellectual boundary because I'm learning things. So, I don't want to meet my new love of my life. I should say, because he's coming. I feel it. I don't want to meet no one and they be like, well, self-care is stupid. Why are you doing that? Stop going lives. Close that business. Go to work. I can't be with you. But guess what? If I let my partner in and I don't talk about how important my business is, or how I'm venturing out, how I'm going to speaking engagements, how I'm starting to write schools and trying to get my program in, then guess what? If he doesn't know, then how can he support? Yet we're sometimes not supported because we don't have conversations. We're sometimes not supported because we don't have conversation. That's lack of communication. And that's very, very important. So always remember, boundaries are not set for the other person's well being. Boundaries are set for your very own well being. What does that look like to you? Sit down, grab a piece of paper like I did last night, 12 midnight, then go to sleep. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. And I wrote down what my boundaries do. What are my boundaries? And then I also wrote about, like, what do I want to accept and what I don't want to accept in this relationship to come. And I know some may be already in a relationship, so we're probably saying, well, I'm already here. I'm too old to be out there looking for a new man. I'm going to just keep them. I have an issue with that. That's not self-care, first of all. That's not self-care. I don't care how long you've been in a relationship with a person. That should not matter when you're not happy. Your happiness should come first if that's the boundary you want to keep. See, I'm going to be in a relationship where I'm happy. I learn new things since I've been single for the last 4 or 5 years. I learned a lot about myself. Oh, I learned a whole lot about myself. I learned what I don't like, what I do like, what I'm willing to bend, what I'm not willing to bend, what I'm willing to accept, what I'm not willing to accept. But one thing that I'm not going to do that I've done for many years is just set boundaries and people cross them. It's one thing I'm not going to do. I'm going to set a boundary. We're going to talk about our financial. If you go buy a house, I'm out the door because I never said I want to do 30 years of mortgage. If you go buy a car, I'm not paying that car note. I don't think we need to be together because nowadays we're stuck in this car note for the next 5 years. I don't think we could commit to that. I think we could commit to something else. Have the conversation. Communicate. Communicate on an intellectual level. Like I said, you don't want to be talking to a partner about your hopes and dreams and they ask you, did you cook dinner? You don't want to live a life like that. You really don't. So make sure that you utilize these boundaries. I hope that they were very, very helpful to you. And, just intellectual, financial, physical boundaries, just all these great boundaries, sexual boundaries. Just make sure that, you implement some sort of boundaries within your relationship. I shared with you guys the boundaries that I'm going to implement in my relationship. And always remember, I teach what I most need to learn. So I always wondered why people cross my boundaries. And that's because I never set a consequence. And I never really thought about the importance of my boundaries being for my very own well-being. Not that I don't care and love, not going to care and love my partner, but my boundaries are set for my well-being. Your boundaries need to be set for your well-being. So I hope that you guys got something out of this live. And, thank you guys for always supporting and loving me and just stepping in and just, learning from what I'm learning and just engaging. So I want you guys to have an amazing week on purpose. I'll do a few reels and lives and may do a few dances. I don't know. What's the plan this week? I'm out of school for the next 2 weeks. So spring break, I'm loving it. I am loving spring break. I also took a vacation from work because I got some self-care business that I need to hone into and really look out for. So, guys, on April 9th, I'll be teaching a Narcan training in Middletown. Please look out for that flyer. That flyer is going to be circulating in my story, 97 Wickham in Middletown, New York. I'm going to be teaching a free Narcan training. We're going to be there. We're going to network. We're just going to enjoy ourselves. So make sure that you guys tune in, and I'll keep you, updated with new events and things. You know, if I go to speaking engagements, I will post and just post some of the live stuff that I talk about. All of this stuff. You know, I'm a transparent human being. I just tell all my business and share my business because it's a way to heal. And I'm not hiding that things don't always go up well for me, but things are going to go well for me. You get it? They don't always go well, but they're going to continue to go well. So have an amazing day, night, morning, evening, wherever you're at in this world on purpose. You guys can handle it. Set those relationship boundaries with your partner. Set them up, talk about them, don't just write them, discuss them, and tell your partner what they mean to you, but also tell your partner a consequence if they can't obey it. And if you've been in a relationship and you guys are so used to each other, give your partner time to correct the mishaps of those boundaries. So have a great one. I love you guys to life.